The bus ride into Briarwood was silent, the kind of silence that pressed against the windows and followed Marcus Ellison down the cracked pavement as he stepped into the morning air. He carried no luggage, no visible ties to the place, only a folded newspaper under his arm and a stillness in his eyes that spoke of battles fought, some on foreign soil, others within his own country. For a black man walking into this town of 8,000, his very presence was a declaration. Briarwood was the kind of place where names stretched across mailboxes for generations, where cotton fields and pine woods drew the borders tighter than any law. Outsiders, especially those with darker skin, did not go unnoticed. Marcus knew at the moment he stepped onto Main Street. Curtains shifted. Conversations stuttered. Eyes lingered longer than politeness allowed. He did not flinch. His destination was a modest diner on the corner of Maple and Ash, the Silver Fork. For 30 years, it had been the heartbeat of the town. Farmers argued about rain. Retirees measured each other's memories. Truckers swapped stories of roads that led anywhere but here. Marcus pushed open the door. The bell above chimed a mechanical greeting. The room stilled, not in open hostility, but in that small-town curiosity that always curdled into suspicion. He chose a corner booth, setting down his newspaper with deliberate care. A cup of black coffee soon followed. No cream, no sugar. Marcus nodded his thanks to Evelyn Brooks, the owner, a woman who knew every regular by first name. Something in Marcus's composure struck her, an unspoken authority that seemed at odds with his quiet routine. For 3 weeks, Marcus returned at the same hour, 7:15 sharp. The locals took notice. He spoke rarely, tipped well, and never lingered beyond his coffee and paper. A ghost, some whispered. A gentleman, others said. Evelyn only felt a strange reassurance in his presence, though she could not explain why. But peace in Briarwood never lasted long. One Monday morning, Officer Travis Hale pushed through the door with the heavy gait of a man convinced the world belonged to him. 15 years in the Briarwood Police Department had given him a swagger that fed on fear and submission. His pale blue eyes swept the room, narrowing when they landed on Marcus. Hale's hand rested on his belt, not in readiness but in display. "ID," he said flatly, approaching the booth. It wasn't a question. Marcus looked up slowly. His dark eyes met Hale's without the slightest flicker of deference. "Good morning, officer. Is there a problem I can assist you with?" His words were calm, steady, a quiet challenge. Hale had expected compliance or resistance he could crush. Instead, he found something unfamiliar: dignity. "I asked for identification, soldier boy." The phrase dripped with mockery. Marcus folded his newspaper, his movements measured with the precision of discipline. From his jacket, he withdrew a leather wallet and slid his license across the table. "Savannah address," Hale muttered. "That's a long way from Briarwood." "I'm exactly where I need to be," Marcus replied, not defensive, not pleading, simply factual. The officer's jaw tightened. The script was failing. The outsider wasn't playing the part written for him. "What brings someone like you here?" Hale asked, the pause before you loud enough for everyone to hear. Marcus tucked his license away, expression unchanged. "Coffee and a newspaper, same as anyone else." Evelyn set down her pot of coffee with deliberate force between them. "Officer Hale," she said evenly, "Mr. Ellison has been a regular here for weeks. He's never caused trouble." The warning was clear. She would not let her diner become Hale's stage. But Hale had already lost face. And when small men lose face, they often bare their teeth. "Maybe you should finish that coffee and move along," he said louder now, feeding on the silence of his audience. Marcus rose slowly, laying a $10 bill on the table. He straightened to his full height, his presence filling the room with quiet power. "I've learned something in my years of service," he said, voice carrying like a sermon. "Small men often wear the largest uniforms." The words cut sharper than any blade. Hale's face flushed, but Marcus didn't wait for a reply. He picked up his newspaper, nodded once to Evelyn, and walked out. The bell chimed as he left, leaving behind a silence so heavy it seemed to nail Hale to the floor. That evening, Evelyn found herself unable to shake the moment. Curiosity, or perhaps unease, drove her to her laptop. A search revealed what the town could never have guessed. Colonel Marcus Ellison, commander of the 3rd Infantry Division at Fort Stewart, Georgia. A decorated veteran. A man with authority over thousands. Marcus, however, was not dwelling on the encounter. By nightfall, reports were filed, first with the military police, then with the FBI Civil Rights Division. Hale had drawn a line, and Marcus intended to document every inch of it. The next morning, 7:15 sharp, Marcus was back at his booth, calm, watchful, his coffee steaming. Hale was watching too. "You can't record me without my permission," Hale blustered. "Actually, officer, this is a one-party consent state," Marcus replied calmly. He withdrew a simple, elegant business card and placed it on the table. "Colonel Marcus Ellison, Commanding Officer, 3rd Infantry Division." The revelation hit the diner like a thunderclap. Hale's face went ashen. He had been harassing a federal officer. Marcus's voice, still recording, continued. "I've been carefully documenting our interactions, the traffic stops, the questioning, the public accusations. I think there's been a fundamental confusion about my presence here. Let me clarify. I am here because I choose to be here. And I will continue to be here for as long as I choose." The investigation that followed moved swiftly. It uncovered not just Hale's prejudice, but a culture of corruption. Audits of the police department's evidence room revealed theft of money and drugs to pay off gambling debts. Hale and 3 other officers faced federal charges. 3 weeks later, a team of federal agents entered the Silver Fork. Agent Sarah Mitchell approached Marcus's booth. "Colonel Ellison," she said formally, "we need to discuss Officer Hale." "What have you found?" Marcus asked. Mitchell leaned in. "The civil rights investigation led us to the evidence room. Hale was stealing money and drugs. He's looking at over 25 years in federal prison. 3 other officers were involved. The department is being placed under federal supervision." Justice had been served. A week later, a new police cruiser pulled up outside the diner. A young black woman stepped out, her uniform crisp. Chief Dana Whitfield, brought in from Savannah to rebuild the department. She walked directly to Marcus's booth and extended her hand. "Colonel Ellison, I wanted to thank you personally. Things are going to be very different here now." "I'm certain they will be, Chief," Marcus said. 6 months later, Briarwood had transformed. Hale sat in prison. Chief Whitfield implemented new policing standards. The Silver Fork had become a symbol of redemption. Military families visited for breakfast, drawn by the welcoming atmosphere. The morning sun streamed through the windows, illuminating the faces of a community that had learned a profound lesson. Courage and dignity, when faced with prejudice, can bring about a quiet justice more powerful than any weapon. And the man who once entered as a stranger now sat each morning in his booth, not as an outsider, but as a quiet force that had helped change Briarwood forever.